We will call the Grant County Drainage Board to order April 9th. And we have the minutes floating around here. Do we have enough folks to?
Yep, we were all there. Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion, Mr. Cox. Second, Mr. Cates. Any discussion, comments, questions on details? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Next up, we've got some few bills to pay. Jim, if you'll walk us through those, please.
Morlock Wildlife Control, $700 in Hollis Daughtery, $12,000 in the fund. How many beavers was that? Okay.
Wasn't that just a set amount? Isn't that what we agreed to paying?
He does do it for the year.
That's for the year?
He'll do it for the whole year. He'll come back if there's more there.
It's like 80-acre swamp out in there, and then there's acreage that comes into it on the south side, it has to depend on the swamp part to keep moving.
And Brad Atkins is going in to take out the dams
Yeah.
at his own cost.
He's
After it gets the beaver all out. Move we pay this claim to Morlock Wildlife.
Motion, Mr. Cox. Second, Mr. Goff. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. And the next set.
Redmond Excavating, $27,650 on Big Deer Creek, $57,572 in the fund. And Redmond Excavating, $1,100 on Big Deer Creek. Again, $57,000 in the fund.
He did a good job, very, very good. I've been keeping track of it.
You're satisfied with it?
Yes, yes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Cates, second, Mr. Cox. Any further discussion? Already heard it was a good job. Yep. All right, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those abstaining?
Aye.
Carried 3-1 abstention. And that pays all our bills, right? All right, under old business, I have not yet got the two attorneys together to talk about Little Crane Pond. We ought to talk about it since Pat isn't here, so we
Yes.
can gang up on him next time.
Ain't never gonna happen.
I was actually out there at that one section that's in the city just a few days ago, and again, it's starting to brush up down along between.
It will.
Yeah, so
That's where you gotta get rid of it.
we need to get rid of it,
It's
yeah.
not agricultural drain anymore. And of course,
Ain't gotta go in there by hand to clean it out.
the
Which will cost
farmers
money.
paying most of the bill.
Yeah.
That's the reason I say we need to give it to the city.
So we will get that to discussion with the attorneys. Under new business, Martin Tile,
Well, Country Lake Estates was flooded again, the roads, you know, from backing up the pond. Martin Tile does not go all the way to the creek, the legal description. It stops down at a dead-end road, which is, I think, 50th Street maybe.
Yeah, one of those.
And David was gonna do some drainage issues. The one guy at the end of the road where it dead ends, he's put 212s in, filled what little open channel he had, which was private property. So, you know, they talked about a 30-inch, for $62,895 in the fund, and I talked to the representative out there that's took over from Herb Spitzer. That's just a drop in the bucket. You probably need 4 times that. You know, and Pat was talking about coughing up some city funds to match these funds, you know, but we've had to spend money on this too. It's broke down.
at one point, we started the collection there with the idea of draining to the south, but by think Pat was talking about hooking into the city and draining some of it north, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, well, I forgot that. That would be
So-
a big help.
Yeah,
Because if you put a 30-inch and you go down and dump it on everybody on that dead-end road, it comes down to the cul-de-sac. Roger Bainbridge lives at the bottom of the hill. But we don't have access or easement all the way to the creek that way. You know, we could get it, probably public hearing and stuff, but depending on what opposition you got from the neighbors on putting a 30-inch down through there like Pat talked about. But if you could get some of that water going any other direction, that would be the answer.
we could take some of it north, like, I think that's what Pat had.
If it could go both ways, then the old 15 would probably be okay. You wouldn't have to dump any more water on anybody downstream.
Is it 15 plugged up where the easement is?
They didn't find any plug this time, you know.
Just more water than it can handle.
Yeah.
That's the old marsh, right?
Yeah, behind there.
How long ago did that go and they didn't, they got permission, but it wasn't right permission to get the,
At one time, we had tree roots and an elderly lady, and we had to convince her daughter that the pine trees had to come down. They were right under the pines, and they're gone, but, you know, there's some other trees that could be speculative until you get a camera in it.
Is that what you think our next step ought to be, is
To investigate it, pull
Do the
some manholes and
investigation,
just see
okay.
if there's something in there. I mean, you know, we're operating on the 62,000, which we was supposed to be building up. See, it broke down underneath the street. We spent quite a few thousand fixing it 2 years ago, I think.
was
I
that
just
right on
want-
45th or in the addition itself?
That was in the addition itself where it broke down. And it was going right under a house. One of the units was built right over it. But the city ran the camera through there and it was okay, but it was breaking down under his patio. And the patio was all sinking and that was broken down at the edge of the road. So we got one of the units that's built right over it, so. And it goes over and gets a drain behind Marsh and gets some of that water.
So with the board's consent, we'll ask the surveyor to go ahead and do some investigating on that? You? All right.
Then I'd like to throw in, Mark, I went out to the Bellevue tile in Jonesboro. The manhole was underwater. Now, we'd worked on the, Raymond dug up a plan, I want to say it was 55 or something, was put in, it's concrete.
55, 58, somewhere in that neighborhood.
The county surveyor put all that in. Well, there's a lot of trees out there.
But it was put in with field tile.
Concrete.
Yeah, just butt up.
Yeah, so I know at one time on the north line, they do have a maintenance fund, and on the north line, Sullivan's was in, and we got out a root ball, and when I looked down through there on the other line, there's just tree after tree. And how much is in that? It's Bellevue tile, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not very much.
It's never had a, if it's had a hearing, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah. I want to say it's on
I think the tree roots have been soaking up all the tile water.
tree roots and fences
But
and.
we're gonna send a letter out telling the landowners we're gonna walk the tile, because we gotta pull some manhole lids first. We have
6,200,
6,000,
200.
yeah, I won't go very far.
That's not much, yeah.
Working in a subdivision.
so where is this Bellevue Ave? In Jonesboro, what
Yeah, it's,
about?
off of Sand Pike to the east. It's in that first row of subdivisions.
Right there by the school, between the school and
Is that
San Pike.
Winchester? Is there a road named Winchester?
Wichita.
Wichita's.
Wichita's the eastern road.
Mayor sent us some pictures. I'll forward it to everybody.
Yeah, I looked at the pictures, and then when I went out there to see the,
We had to drive the street to find it, because he didn't give no address.
but it was easy to find, the whole backyard was underwater. But the manhole, the end manhole was under about a foot of water. So it ain't gonna do no good to pull manholes until water goes down. You see, that's how we did that one. Peterson kept pulling manholes down when the water was gone. Once it's still down in the hole, you know. We're gonna go out there, we've got to send letters out first though, so people know who's in their backyard.
Like the,
I'll wear a vest anyway, so.
I kind of look at how condition joints up below, is they finally got that problem solved, didn't they? The county helped,
Behind Lowe's?
well, actually.
They're just south of Lowe's.
We used to have complaints there.
Well, that's part of the Lomax. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Lomax.
I just want to throw that one in there because I kind of forgot to put, I looked at it, Mark, but I kind of forgot to put it on the agenda.
Okay. Yep, I'm glad you reminded us that. So let's go to the Lomax.
Well, in the Lomax, I have talked to the beaver guy, and he got 2 breeding beavers, and then he got sick, and he misplaced his bill. So that's why we never got a bill, but he's okay if we get somebody that you guys could get in there soon, to see if there's any more. He said he kept coming checking his traps, and he didn't get any more. So,
It's because they're in the pond, not the creek right now.
and they may be out in that bigger pond.
My wife was not happy when I said, yep, those are gonna disappear.
Oh, if you're watching them.
Gentlemen, would either of you like to address the board and
Yes, sir. Do I gotta say my name or anything?
for the record, please?
Doug Kingseed, and then Doug, you gotta say my address?
That's great, yeah.
1427 South Roseburg Pike. Before I get started, I want to give you guys some pictures that we've taken up there and some handouts so we can all stay on the same page and talk through this. But no, we want to talk about the Lomax behind Meyer, in between Meyer and the Heritage, what is it?
Heritage University Village.
Heritage University Village. So with us today is Bob Tippy. Bob is the homeowner or the homeowner association president of that addition there on the west side of the Lomax. So on your front, on this packet that put together for you, you can see this came off of Elevate. You can see the Lomax going through there, the purple line, and goes through the buildings. And what got us involved with this Lomax is the field that is south of Meyer, or south on the bottom of your picture there. And you can see where the Lomax comes to that field and drains it right there in the southeast corner. When they put the addition in, they did some new work back there on the tile or on the open ditch and rerouted it. One of the questions that we have is, when you go back there and look at it, it looks like there's 2 open ditches back there, and I think you and Raymond were back there, Jim. And so, one question we have is which one really is the new Lomax, off Elevate here, and then which one, and then what is the other one? Obviously, then we want to know the setbacks, what can be trimmed, what can't be trimmed, what trees can be cut. What we're having issue with is the water draining from the bottom of your page, off that field. You'll turn to page 2. It's all purple. You can see on this page here what they did when they put this addition in is they ran a 36-inch tile to that old head wall of the old Lomax. Everybody follow me there? And then page 3, if you turn to that, is inside that cement structure, and you can see that we have a couple 8-inch tile, a 10-inch tile, and a couple 6s stacked on top of each other that we cannot get to drain and that are currently half full. Now,
South side of the road,
what'd you say?
your tiles here, are they on the south?
That's
side
correct.
of the road?
They would be on the south side of 44th Street. And there's a manhole cover there that you can pull off and look in. Out on page 3 there where it shows them tiling that water, it's not in the picture, but off to the right is a 36-inch tile. That's on page 2. And that tile would be half full currently.
The outlet? Is that the outlet?
Correct.
Catch basin?
Yep. Everybody with me on that?
36 is the outlet.
Yep, 36 is the outlet. That 36-inch will drain into, on page 4, you can see the outlet, which it turns into a 48-inch. Page 4 and 5 is the outlet, the 48-inch outlet, and you can see that is underwater into the south pond right there on 44th Street in addition. So, any questions up to this point?
Where's that outlet at? As far as.
On your sheet there, if you see this pond on the bottom, the first pond you come to,
Okay,
that is where that outlet sits, on the east side of that pond.
so it's going about straight west.
Correct. About where your finger is.
Okay, so it goes across 45th and then goes straight west, or 44th and goes about straight west.
Yes. And so you can see in that picture that, this picture was taken, I think, Saturday, and it's maybe went down 3 or 4 inches since then. One of the things that has caused this tile to stay full, if you go to your back page, there's 2 beaver dams in there. One of them is right behind the houses on the south end there, and then one of them is probably within 400 feet of 38th Street. Is those 2 beavers. So Jim, on that, you're talking about the beaver guy, and do you call the new gentleman to hire to catch the beavers, or do we call him, or how do we go about that?
Does Wendell know him?
Doug knows him better than I do.
Yeah, it'd be okay with the board's approval for you to call him.
It's fine.
That's what you agreed to.
Yeah, Mr. Broshock?
If you make an appointment and you're coming out to talk to him, I'll be there too. We'll
Okay, that's fine.
walk it.
I appreciate that.
The only reason the beaver dams, I was waiting for this other beaver guy to call me, and then we were gonna take the dams out. He tore holes in them when he set his traps, so they would come and try and work on it, and his traps would get them. And he got a breeding pair, and then he said he kept traps out for like a week, and he didn't get any more, so he pulled off, and then he got sick. But, I think we have one of his cards, and he just needs to deal with Mary here.
You're talking about the new, Mr. Broshock, the new gentleman?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told the guy from LaGrove we were gonna get somebody new, since, you know, he's under the weather.
That'll work.
No, it's not Morlock. What was his name?
It's Derek Broshock, and I forget what.
But you could give him, yeah, you could give him our card. This is Drainage Board Secretary's card, Mary, and have him call me, and we share the same phone number. And I can meet him out there at his convenience.
So,
And then if there's no more beavers, we trap them, we need to get the dams out as soon as possible.
yeah, and you can see, I think it's picture number 3, you can see, if we can lower the water a foot, we'll be able to unload our tile, come out of there, but, obviously it'd help if you walk out through them, a couple of them ponds, that water's staying high enough to start to eat away the bank, so. Based on these pictures, do you have any questions on these pictures before we move on to a couple of questions I have? Anybody? So, Mr. Todd, after you guys, do you know which one is the exact Lomax out there?
Not exactly. I thought it's, the way the channels come down, it's gotta be the one that ends up down there towards the road. We didn't vacate nothing at that meeting. I read the minutes just the other day.
Okay.
Aaron was hunting them up.
Did you get my emails?
We didn't vacate
No, I
nothing.
didn't get it open.
So the main channel that goes all the way through, we still have right of easement, and they didn't reduce it any, so. But the houses are constricted on the west side, so we gotta do it on the east side. And there is a pond down there that's kinda hard to get around, but, I think we got a right to go in there and work anywhere on the line. They didn't specify.
You're talking about the west one and the east one?
Mhm.
That's good. Because the west one is the main one that drains the ponds.
Yeah, we could sit on that west side and even if you had to drain right up on the edge of the pond and make a channel go all the way through the big one and then, get to that other one and you could go all the way up to quite a ways up to where the houses stop and then do the rest of the excavating and brushing from the north side.
You're gonna have to have a long stick excavator.
Then you'd have to load it up. Well, I don't know, would you? A big excavator would do that other part, the north part. Trouble with the big one, you can't see what you're doing. It's just too close. What do you think, Wendell?
I feel like it's gotta have a big one. If we're gonna go all east, I
Yeah,
think we gotta have a big one.
okay.
Reach.
I guess my preference would be, Doug and Bob have walked the west one.
Yeah,
I have not walked the whole length of it. My preference would be to stay on the west,
right.
but,
I've walked it more than I should have by now, you know? But I just, you know, you have to get somebody with a long reach excavator who knows how to operate it and can operate it, you know, and not tear it up.
Yep.
does
We
John have a long arm?
Yeah,
Rick, or Inyard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
We have the same type of problem.
Now, do we want to get Beaver's trapper in there right away, or let's just take out, if we take out the dams, let this water go down, the beavers are still there, they're gonna start building a new dam, and that's when we get the trapper in there. I'd like to see Sullivan's come in, and, or, I don't care who does it, but I talked to Rick about getting in there and taking them out, putting them in a truck, and when the ground was drier, and hauling them off. It's just a pile of mess, there's hardly anywhere to put it. You pull it out. How much money, Mary's check here? There's $50,288 in that fund, so if
What
you
was
use
that
it
number?
wisely.
50,000.
50,288.
What is, Meyer and them paying into that fund?
I do not know.
I think they do. I think you look on their tax rolls, I think they do.
Seems like they should. They should. Or it's gotta be on there.
Is the big pond the housing additions or Myers?
Half and half.
Yeah.
Is it a requirement for Myers retention? Does it have to stay for their, runoff water?
It's a different.
I can't, that is.
Is that part of Myers's legality as far as retention? As far as their runoff?
Probably.
According to the maps I looked at, they own half of the water behind our addition, behind my house, and we own over to halfway. It's the homeowner association. I'm not sure that answers your
I
question.
mean, I hunted up the manager one time and talked to him. That was when we had Morlock there.
Yeah.
You know, let him know that somebody could be back there on their property trapping under the drainage boards.
I saw him take out 3 right behind my house. Then the south end of that is owned by someone else named Heritage Marketplace.
University Marketplace.
University Marketplace.
Yeah, they're on here.
Probably. Myers might not be called Meyer.
You got a lot of parking lots there.
Yeah, so, you know, how do you handle that as a drainage board when you get into, this much pavement and surface runoff? You know,
I thought the parking lot went to the city, front half.
At Oak Hill, we figured it,
But they've got 2 assessments.
and I can't tell you what the figures is right now, but we figured on the acres of our surface.
They're down from 29 acres.
On what?
at a higher rate or just, normal rate?
Normal,
Well,
$5 an acre.
I think we did a normal rate, didn't we?
yeah.
Figure out how to do it fairly at the higher rate. It should be at a higher
But
rate.
that's why, you know, that's what Wendell and I've been talking about some is, you know, when.
You figure out how to do it and tell us.
When, I don't know, you know, what is fair when you get a 2-inch rain or an inch rain, whatever it is, you guys know this. You know, every drop that hits that pavement and roof has to go somewhere. It's not gonna go in. Whereas a field on the south end or on the west side, you know, it's gonna hold it for a while. And so what is fair and, you know, you don't wanna make it too complicated that nobody can know how to do it. I know down in Howard County, you know, they got a system that the pavement's worth so much and the ground's worth so much, bare ground, but it's so complicated to explain, you know, how you can't.
Yeah, I think they got a program that costs about $10,000. It's diagnosis, all that.
Yeah. And so what is fair in this situation and how to handle it and so forth?
When we figured that Oak Hill school, we took the acres apart, surface, roof and all, come off the drains, and then took it times an inch of rain, 2 inches, and so on and so forth. And that's the way I figured that.
Was that maybe 4 times the original rate? Or Brad Rail's a good engineer. He's the one to come up with that.
I got the figures in my briefcase over home.
Jim, do you think,
We had like 500 and some thousand feet of hard surface in Oak Hill School, something along the line. And we took that times 2 inches and so on and so forth to figure out how much water that would produce.
Need to talk to the city and have them produce their map of how this stormwater's working. I'm not convinced it's
But I mean,
all coming to the pond.
you got roofs coming off
Yeah.
of those buildings there, you got several buildings. That goes clear over to
And they're down for 26 acres.
Texas Roadhouse and so on and so forth, those buildings there, all that water goes back that way, I assume.
yes, it does. We can email you. We were up at the city one day, morning or afternoon, and they gave us a PDF of the drawing, the layout of all the sewer and water lines, so we can email that to you as a PDF.
So what was it doing? Is it coming back to the
I
farm?
think it all goes to Texas Roadhouse. All them guys comes through there. There's a tile north of Meyer that drains in this big pond, and there was a tile that was south of Meyer that drains into the tile ditch or the open ditch on the west side. And then Texas Roadhouse, Farm Credit, a lot of them came to the south through the 48-inch tile that you got a picture of.
Okay.
Bob's got something to say.
I will say that it seems to be a lot of water coming into that pond. It'll come up a foot, I mean, 2-3 days in a row or something like that, it will come up. And that's a lot. They're all connected, so they all come up at the same time, right? And, it seems like there's a lot, so it seems like it wouldn't be just the water from our streets and necessarily. It seems like it would be more than that, just from practical.
No.
And it gets my wife all upset.
What would you do on this? You take like, Texas Roadhouse, take the size of their building and lot, say you got an acre there. They produce so much water, it comes that way with an inch rain or 2 inch rain or whatever. Then you take and say, hey, you've got so many, your contribution to this is so much. So they don't pay into that, I assume.
To the Lomax? I think Texas Roadhouse does pay into Lomax.
You think they do?
Texas Roadhouse, or where they own there?
If they do, we may need to refigure their contribution, is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could
Service over here. Send them a bill. There's at least a half a dozen businesses down through there.
Yeah.
That were good contributors.
Yes.
So you can talk to Greg Lake from Howard County and see what their heavy runoff is for hard surfaces. See what versus what it is for normal acreage, how much they.
If we have to do something corrective like this, do we have to go through a public hearing?
Yeah,
or-
we'd have to have a public hearing. I mean,
Is that, I don't know if that's it or not, there is no Texas Roadhouse, but there's a Tex
Texas
MI,
Heritage,
Tex MI Heritage, is that,
where they out of Indianapolis.
yeah. If that's them, it's,
1.1 acre and a half.
they've got more than that, don't
No, that'd be about it.
That'd be about it.
I guess my
they? They're
thought
paying
was
$5.
that we need to see what their contribution is for
Mhm.
water. And then we fill out a paper.
What's,
Home sites are
Texas
paying,
Roadhouse there, what do they pay for the?
home sites are paying 20,
They're already paying $20?
home sites are.
Like Texas Roadhouse, what do they pay? $5?
Where do you see that?
On Elevate, on Elevate, Texas Roadhouse is there Stephen Sy, S-I-E-W?
Oh, I was looking at Texas,
That's what it's on under Elevate.
I'm sorry, can you spell that again?
SIEW,
And you're saying S as in Sam?
correct?
Yeah, a lot of those small ones are it was a $5 minimum.
Oh, let me see if I can find it for you.
Mark, are you getting an assessment for this ditch at your house, Mark?
I found it. It is.
I believe I'm on the low max, yeah.
They're paying $9.25.
I'm not sure it's been
That's
gone
like-
over since all the houses were.
That's what it shows on mine, $9.25.
Yeah,
Pop on Elevate myself.
Ridiculous.
$9.25.
Well, you know, that's got to be changed,
Yeah.
you know?
Did I hear $9?
Yeah. For all cement lot.
You know, that's not right.
Okay,
If
so
that
the next
goes
que-
into the low max.
do we, because we recognize there's a problem, go ahead and call a public, or do we need somebody to petition for a public hearing?
No, I think the drainage board can make that decision on their own, and we'll
I
start
think,
the process with the,
I think we need to
Coming
go
up
through
with
with
a
all
formula.
those businesses that contribute to this and figure them an estimated bill. And somebody contact them instead of just sending it to them in the mail.
We gotta have a public hearing to do. So that has to be contacted to come to the hearing.
Jim, you mentioned the setbacks earlier. What are those setbacks? Are they 75 feet or?
yeah, they left it 75 feet. And we can use up to 150 feet on one side if necessary, if you're not using the other side, which we can't, you know, where the houses are. And I'll call Jared Hahn, he's the president of the County Surveyors Association for this part of Indiana. And I'll see what he says about how he's doing our surface rates. He's been there a while, so. And I'll call Greg Lake from Howard County and see if he'll share that formula with me. You know, versus an acre of regular ground versus acre hard surface. What's the rate jump to? Hopefully you can tell me that. And we'll start working on this assessment roll and come up with something that I'll bring back to the board. And then the board can critique it, decide on one, and we'll get a hearing this year.
Appreciate that. So right now, I'm calling Derek Bushrock to get them beavers.
Yep.
And then are we calling to get the dams out, or are you taking care of that?
Well, I can take care of that.
Or we can?
Wendell, do you want to tackle that?
Pardon?
Do you want to tackle getting the beaver dams out?
You thinking, Doug?
Well, I think the north one we could, the south one, the south one's gonna take some equipment, different equipment, some smaller equipment to get in there, because there's no easy way to get in there. The walk path that we walk back in there is maybe 2 lawnmowers wide,
Yeah.
and so,
That was where I was thinking we needed to dredge and build that path up.
yeah,
Even if we, you know, and even if we're digging a hole, a sediment hole, to get that dirt.
so that, you're talking about the walking path on the east side of the west open ditch, right?
Yeah.
So can that silt be thrown, if that's dredged on the east side of that walking path?
Right.
And so to make that wider, so
Make it wider for future access.
10 years from now, 15 years from now, we can, we'll have bigger, okay.
Go in there and brush it, and I don't think the brushing would be a whole lot to get it cleared for a dredge job.
Can that John, with his little mini excavator, get in there?
I don't know.
I think a mini excavator can get in there. As long as it's not real wide, what do you think?
Yeah, but do you think it's got enough reach up to get there?
I don't know what size it's got.
It's not that deep.
I think so.
Just use a smaller bucket.
You know, if you want me to meet Rick Sullivan out there, I'll put him on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm good with that. So,
They've got a mini too.
Where is the southern beaver dam?
about lot on the 199, somewhere in there. Maybe not, maybe 98, 99.
All the way down there. Wow.
Yeah.
They got a connect to the south.
Gotta get to South one, you gotta come in from the south.
And go on the east side of that pond and then,
Yes,
On the west, they gotta be on the west side of the Lomax, right?
well, are you talking about walking in on that walkway
Oh, you think they can get in on it?
with a mini? I think so, that they have a mini, they can.
Now, if you need a big stick, that Dave's
Mm-hmm.
had a big stick over there, Swayze taking that building down.
Right,
That boy was pretty sharp with that.
did a nice job.
Got our plan?
You got any?
Good.
Bob?
$2,000 not gonna go very far.
Out on the,
Gonna eat that pretty darn quick.
how soon do we think we could move on addressing the merchants, businesses down there that are contributing less than $10?
I'll talk to the other two county surveyors, see if they can give us an idea of what the rates that they're using for the hard surface runoff. Otherwise, we'd need to hire an engineer to advise you guys.
Okay.
And we'll start working on a new assessment. For public hearing.
So that's till January, right? To get it on next year's taxes?
Technically, yeah. We don't want to wait that long if we don't
It'll be
have
this
to.
summer. It won't be that long, we can throw something together for you guys to digest.
Appreciate it. Thank you for all you guys do, thank you.
Bob, are you gonna leave before we're done? I just wanted to put a bug in your ear since I'm a member out there. Has nothing to do with the Beavers.
Sign to the houses of business.
Okay, we've got two other items I see under other. Wendell wants to talk about easement issues. You want to come on up for that, sir?
Sir. I'm partially prepared, partially not prepared. How's that?
That's partially okay.
Yesterday, what I want to talk about is the easement on a county drain going through a solar field. And so yesterday, we were, Doug and I was working on Cart Creek over north, and the north, I'll call it the head wall of the Cart Creek, where the first 1,200 feet has already got a signed agreement with the solar farm. So we went into that farm where the solar farm would be, and and so we measured on top of the tile where the water's cutting the soil away, and where, excuse me, and then measured out 75 feet, took a reading, and then measured out 150 feet and took a reading. All right, so over the tile, we have a mask of 12.1. At 75 feet out, we have a mask of 9.95. So basically gained 2 feet of soil by moving that main over 75 feet. So if we move the main over 75 feet, well, I'll finish this story. At 150 feet, we had a mass of 9.2. So we're at 9.2, we're at 3 feet of gain. But let's say we move the tile over 75 feet to gain our 2 feet of dirt. Then we're going to need another 30 feet for equipment to run. Is my excuse for I would like to have that width set at 150 feet each side. Okay, now I'm going to go to a different farm.
Is that a 30-inch window you're planning?
We're going to a 24 inch. Right now there's a 24 inch in there, and we're going to a 36.
36.
Yes. And so we're going about a foot bigger tile, plus probably about 2 more inches overall, probably 4 more inches outside width extra over the cement tiles, the clay tiles in there.
How many feet was it through the solar farm?
I'm gonna guess it's 1,200, 1,400.
Yeah, quarter mile.
Yeah. And so we stayed on this same Cart Creek tile. We went north into our field. By the way, we left our flags. If anybody wants to go out and look, just to get an eyeball feeling of what it looks like. So now we're in our field. We got a 3.5 foot cover over the top of a 24 inch tile. Our mass is 7.95. At 75 feet, we got a mass of 6.6, or a gain of really a 1.5 inches gain of cover. So that 1.5 inches of cover that we gained, we didn't gain. We just barely held our own on a 3 foot cover over a 36 inch pipe. If we move the tile out 75 feet. If we move it out 150, we gain 2.5 feet. I'm just saying, all I'm trying to prove is somehow we got to protect ourselves so we got room to work if we got to move that county tile out to gain cover for a larger tile.
Who represents that farm?
Bruce Kane.
Bruce King.
Is this the one that we had talked about the possibility of open ditching instead of
Well, I talked about it on this one and
My hearing really gets hard.
would it be any advantage to you to open ditch in that area?
Well,
you'd spend a lot less money and you'd have a good outlet where the
okay.
solar farm wouldn't have to soak in, it could just go. That's the only reason I thought it'd be better for you.
Thing I don't like about it, when we put the LED in 14, we discussed open ditch, and what we don't know is who's going to come along and shut down all tree cutting. Who's going to go in the solar farm and spray? Are they going to allow you to go in there and spray?
They're gonna have to.
Are you going to,
I see the point though.
you know, and so now we got 50-foot trees. Where are you going to cut them down and burn them in a solar farm? And we're going to end up with the same situation that we have in these housing additions. I'm sorry, I'm picking on housing additions, but
That's true.
you know, I was talking to Andy Rickner before I came in here, and he did Little Crane Pond 2 years ago. Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
And so we got charged, let's say, $10 to $12 a foot to go through that housing addition. And if you was out in our farm, we did it for $2 a foot. Had a place to burn, been legal to burn. We get in these housing additions, just like this housing addition here. You know, somebody's got to truck them trees out a quarter mile to the south and a quarter mile to the north. Get them out of there to burn them, and then we got to go in there and either haul the silt out or I just open ditch. I'm just afraid there's too many walls.
Okay.
that's gonna come in and affect us.
I just assuming they're gonna have to cooperate with us.
If they don't go
It's the
forward.
same way, yeah.
Well, but I mean, you know,
Both of them are gonna have surface flow. Both the solar panels in both those locations are gonna have surface flow anyway.
yes.
Because no matter what size tile you put in, when the ground's saturated, we get these record rains, it's gonna flow over the surface. I just thought the solar open ditch would be better through them, so you wouldn't have to put this big a tile, and it wouldn't be as expensive, but you're gonna have to get in there, if it's new tile, maybe you won't have to bother the solar people and then keep it locked up forever.
Well, I just, you know, our farm operation is getting involved now with the second housing edition. And, you know, you're getting down and they're restricting you to, we don't know what Lomax is.
And I thought Andy done a real good job not tearing them yards up,
Oh, he
staying
did.
out of them yards and not tearing them up. You know, that one gentleman said we tore his yard up completely, we wasn't in the yard.
Yeah. No, Andy did a super
We
job.
wasn't even in the yard. Right on the ditch.
You know, he was lucky, it was a dry season when he was in there. He didn't get stuck, but I can send you guys these measurements, or I'll be more than happy to take anybody out there at once. The one you can see from the road, the other one, you can't see it, we'd have to drive you out in the middle of the field. We just went out there to see. I mean, you know, the last time I got up and spoke, you know, if we, on this Cart Creek, on my property, I would probably straighten the ditch up considerably, probably move it over 800 feet and shoot it straight, and then hook me a 12-inch on, go around and catch my laterals to just stay in the deep part of the,
You wanna catch some surface water, what you can.
well, but we're gonna catch that surface water, because on the north end, we got a 5-foot riser pipe we put in 2 years ago, maybe.
Great.
And so,
I walked that on Larry Kane's property when we first started putting this on maintenance, and I found out the head wall was submerged
yeah,
before we dredged it out. But I'd walk through there a couple times looking for breaks, because they always happen up by the head wall.
but you know, I think the solar panels, I'm picking on you, Mark.
You go ahead, it's all right.
I think these solar panels are gonna be just like housing additions. We've gotta figure out, who's gonna pay the bill. And the farmers can't continually keep paying the bill, and the homeowners, when you have an engineer comes in and says, hey, we're gonna reduce this to 30 foot. You can't cut my trees, you can't spray my trees, don't be spraying in the housing addition. And I see the solar panel people identical.
I do too. You know, we got deal with pipeline companies, railroads, and they don't answer to anybody but themselves. The solar people will do the same way.
Yeah, and so I've got a bad taste in my mouth before I start, just because of what happened out there, Little Crane Pond. And just like this, this is not the homeowners that live there today. It's Arbor Homes that came in and engineered this thing, and they didn't, and it's just like you said, Jim, we're gonna put an open ditch through the solar people. It looks nice today, and Arbor Homes looked nice the day they designed it. But now it was put in 07.
Yeah, 04, 08, 15 years.
So now we're 15 years later, and we're trying to figure out how to fix what they made look real nice. And so, you know,
It's just gonna take maintenance on the channel.
Yeah, but
Right now, it needs
maintenance,
brushed and dredged, right?
we gotta figure out who's gonna help pay the maintenance. The people that created the problem are not the ones that are getting billed for the maintenance.
Yeah, their home site was flawed.
So,
I can tell you,
but Mark, if you would wanna go see them flags before,
I do want to.
I assume you have my number.
I don't think I do. Wendell. I've got Kenny's.
You deleted it.
I'm all for making.
Kenny knows how to find me.
I'm all for
That's probably
working,
what I've done.
working with them to make the easement bigger.
Well,
I
I'm
think they need
just,
to cooperate, you know, they're supposed to jump through the drainage board hoops first, and that's gonna be part of the cooperation for me to agree.
on this cart, go ahead,
661-2251.
you got it.
I do have it. All right.
On this Cart Creek plan, what's the pipeline out north?
Buckeye?
Buckeye, thank you. So Buckeye came in there on this 24-inch, and it's got like, I'm gonna call it a 4-foot drop that goes underneath this. They went and welded the pipe, went down under the 24-inch, came right back up. And so when we replaced the 24 2 years ago, it's laid right back down on top of that gas line. Our goal with this 36, what I think our goal will be, is I'm hoping we can gain enough grade to move west of where this drop is and run the 36 under it,
Under it, yeah.
just so we can keep our depth and run. But, you know, we haven't.
Then you gotta deal with Buckeye getting their permission to do that.
But, yeah, and Buckeye let us put an 18-inch under it 2 years ago, and our 18 under it is clear up against the pipeline.
stood there and watched you take a bath.
Yes, that's my neighbor here. That's my backup.
Surprised they did that.
So, anyway, that's just my theory on,
Would you be satisfied with a 150-foot easement?
well, Doug and I looked at them out there on, Flag yesterday, and both situations I named you, the tile has to be moved clear out at the 75-foot point. And once you put them, solar panels in there at 75 feet, then you have no room for equipment. You have no room for anything. And they're not gonna let you dig along the side of that panel. But to put a 3-foot tile in, and the tile company's gonna come and ask you, their preference would be a 3-foot cover, minimum of a 3-foot cover. And so, time you put all that together, we gotta have more depth, or replace the tile 25 years sooner. I just remember, I don't remember what year Randy Miller came in here and said, somebody hired him to engineer this Cart Creek tile. And I'm gonna say it was 20 years ago. And I remember sitting at that meeting, and I wasn't too smart at that time. And Randy said, we got this thing all engineered, $19,000 for engineering it. And my first question was, when I stood up, and I didn't know the board very well at that point, is I said, are you going over the gas line or under? And he said, there is no gas line. And that's an 8-inch gas line with 1,200 pound pressure. And so we paid the guy $19,000 to engineer a tile that never got used.
Yeah.
And, you know, so now the tile's got worse shape. But, anyway, you heard my complaint.
I just want to say.
Friday or Saturday, is that a possibility, or you already got?
No, I'd like to work that way.
Okay.
Yeah, might have to be Saturday. I think they're talking inch and a half of rain Thursday.
Thursday, Friday, yep.
And you're gonna take Mark to the field?
Mark,
I have done some fording with these guys. I have done some things. You would be surprised.
no,
Bring your knee boots.
feel free to give me a call or whatever.
Thank
You know, Mary's got here that Lomax was $20 home site, $5 minimum and $5 on acreage. So, you know, I'm paying a $50 home site. A lot of people are paying 50, so that'd probably be what to shoot for the home sites, $50. And then work on this hard surface runoff.
Remember that Sears Midland?
$5 for the farm acreage is, I would say that's about right.
I don't know, Mary could look it up, but I'm gonna say we've dredged that twice lately in the last 30 years, Lomax.
Yeah. She's got,
And I don't think we charge very much.
$2 a foot roughly to dig.
Well, I don't know if we charge that much, because I think we did the last time pretty much for free, because we got so many acres in there, we have to keep it down.
and it needed it.
Yeah,
One time you done it for 38th Street along Miller Avenue, wasn't
yeah. Most times we take it
it? When
to,
the guy set the cornfield on fire.
yeah. Most time we take it to 26th Street, because at 26th Street, there's a 8-inch gas line, and so far we haven't crossed that 8-inch gas line. So, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mary.
Let's go to,
Wait just a
oh, okay.
minute. While we're talking,
8/22,
on these solar panels,
2022. 13,000.
I know I had 5
Oh,
calls.
shoot. What that
for-
happened? I don't know.
I think if I go home, the ones from Chicago is over at my office. I get there by 1 o'clock, okay? They've got, I won't sign up with them. And there where the Martin Farm is and Haynes Farm and Powell Farm coming around, and they want to negotiate with me. They've already sent me a contract to sign. I won't sign it. I don't need the money. They want to come across the Martin Farm over there, and we've got that ditched more than reasonably well, okay? They want to tie the Powell Farm in with the Haynes Farm through me and take it across the road.
So they're wanting an electric line across you?
They want a drainage line, yeah, I guess.
Electric overhead line.
Yeah, it would be a electric line.
Okay, to take care of these other 2 farms, it's gonna be solar. So they're working on you on that, and you're working on them on this 150 feet each way.
Money,
Do you know, can they do that by eminent domain?
We haven't crossed that bridge, and I haven't heard anybody.
No.
It's a private company, and even with them selling their power to the grid,
Because it's not a municipal.
it's not doing it, right?
Okay.
That's good.
but they
Because
have,
we dealt with that
Yeah,
with water.
they can't do that. And the neat thing about what Kenny's saying is, he's got the ACE card.
Uh-huh.
And he can continue to drive home to them. They need 150 feet, no matter what happens with his contract. If he doesn't want a contract, no, but if he continues to preach that 150 feet, that's just a plus for us.
I know, but I'm between a rock and hard spot.
Yeah.
Just keep preaching 150.
Well, no, they've already, Chicago's already approached me about that.
Yeah,
If I'd let them come across, they'd give us 150. Well,
really?
first place is, if you went for this item 4 or whatever it is, there's still room to put stuff in there. And I think that the powers to be, the commissioners, whoever, is gonna have to put this 150-foot rule in there. Okay,
Well, we're in the moratorium and we're talking about the caps and we're talking about setbacks right now. So we can continue to visit that. I think we're gonna have to do it contractually instead of, lest we break state law. That's where we've got to figure out the nuances of how we jab them with the 150.
Well, you're not, I mean, state law, I mean, I understand state law is one thing, but we're trying to set a Grant County limitation.
Mhm.
I mean, yes, the state law works in some situations. When I talked to Mark Thornburg, Indiana Farm Bureau attorney out in Annapolis, he said, we don't have time to go to the legislature and get all this changed before the solar panels move in.
Yeah,
And he said, that's the only way to change that 75-foot right of way. But he said, there is no limitation to a county changing that setback to whatever footage they want. That doesn't affect, because that is in that statute that it's 150 feet if you want to build in this county.
And that's good to know, because he knows the stuff.
Yeah,
The guy you talked to.
yeah.
they're big attorneys.
he sent me Mark's contact information. I just need to talk to
Hey,
him.
the man's very, he'll have to call you back. You leave a message. But,
We'll play phone tag, but yeah, that's okay.
He is, very interesting to talk to. And he has to watch how he words it, so he doesn't get in trouble with the state law,
That's right.
so,
He's a good lawyer.
thank you.
All right, let's get to the Davis Moorhead situation here. What we got there?
Is here?
Yeah, he's here. Mr. Chance is here. I've looked at it, I talked to Pat. Pat's not here today. The problem is, I did notice, I went by and he is putting a pile of dirt there. And, like Pat said, if you put a line in across that little holding pond, it backs up, then he's got water in his yard. The Davis Moorhead's overloaded, it'd be 515 feet to bring it down. And then when it had overloaded, it might come in his yard. So I don't know the answer right now, really. If David did some more side ditching, because a lot of that property goes into that little side ditch and runs south. So if David, and it is in the county, but if David did some more
Yeah, but
side.
Titans has that whole ditch filled in now, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, out front, there's a little ditch that collects their water. You'd have to extend that on around to about the end of his property, so it wouldn't run into the road, it wouldn't run back around into Mr. Chance's property.
Is that on Meridian?
Yes, right at the end of Meridian,
But we've also got the state road there too.
right. And I've had pictures down here before.
Where does it cross Meridian?
It,
Or does it?
it doesn't, it stays on Meridian.
Stay on the east side of Meridian?
Yeah, it stays on the east side of Meridian and it goes downhill all the way. That's
North
part
or
of-
south?
South,
To Big Deer, and Big Deer, isn't it?
yeah. And, do you want to tell, have you been communicating with your neighbor about, how to fix that out there? I talked to the guy that runs the shop one time.
Well, we spent almost $18,000 for new gutters and roof on our house. We never had this problem I got pictures, I have to run 2 sump pumps in my basement now. Cause when they put the blacktop in there, it all runs down to our property. They piled dirt up trying to alleviate that, but when it fills up, it goes around and comes down the side of the road and into our yard. And it starts running from the stoplight into our yard downhill instead of running the other direction. And I guess Hunter Run's having the same problems with flooding back here because of the stuff. Just trying to figure out what we can do to get the water away from our property quicker. I got pictures on my phone here.
Any thoughts, Jim, or?
Well, let's hope Pat will be here today. He knows a little bit more about the Hunter Run ponds, and some of their water, Titan's water goes into that.
Or is it the ditches, the side ditches need reshaped?
I think you need to run a side ditch all the way up to, his property and let Titans, if they put a little more dirt up on the property line, then as it sheds off and tries to go in the road and around to him.
You go down the ditch.
you go-
I didn't know if they
Yeah,
could put a high rise in that corner there where the
Can't see
water
it once we
is
come
running
back up.
over to, across the street there, to that retention pond.
We talked about that to, Pat Pinkerton, he's an engineer. And he's kind of afraid to do that because if that fills up and we got a pipe over there to your yard draining it, then it's backing up on you, you know?
Well, I think there's another drain from the retention pond that goes south after it gets so full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if any of it could shed back to that retention pond in the apartment complex would be good. And, you know, Pat produced a picture. It's up in the office now, but we looked at it and studied it here a while back. I mean, you know, if you could get the highway superintendent to extend that side ditch, it wouldn't have to be very deep. It'd be real shallow because you got the city sewer runs under there. There's a couple cuts in the road.
Do you want to talk to David, or you want me to talk to David and see?
It'd have to come from you because I'm not sure I should be.
I'll be glad to,
I know he's busy.
we'll ask David if there's any type of,
And,
dipping he
on
can
his,
do on
you know,
that.
I'm willing to go to the Titans and talk to the guy who runs the business. The owner's in Indianapolis and they're partners. But I could go and talk to and tell him what we're trying to figure out.
Well, I got a code here for the Indiana code for 2012.
Mhm.
It's IC 369-28-75. And it says about running stormwater runoff that can cause health problems. And it keeps going into our basement, it's gonna cause black mold. And they just raised my property tax, so I mean, something has to be done.
And and I'm familiar with that code, and what it does is we hear your side, and then we send the other people a notice, and we hear their side, and then the board makes a vote. The board's not allowed to attend court. The board would vote, you'd use their opinion or as evidence to help you out, but where does your downspouts go? That's the question. There's things we don't know.
It goes down into the ground, it's got tiles that runs back into the old, septic system.
See, but we mentioned that, and Pat didn't think that was good, because since your roofs fill your septic system up, your pipes all down along the
Well-
foundation.
I'm on city water and sewer out there now.
Right.
We're not on septic any longer. When Hunter Runs went back there, they connected us all to city water. That's
So
why-
could your septic tank be plugged up? And the water's backing up?
Well, I just had that cleaned out right after they, hooked us up on city water and sewer.
But that's, that's the problem. If, you get record rains and you got all your roof running into your downspouts and then they fill that tank up while it's raining, then you got water seeping into your own foundation that's partially your problem. And I know it's compounded by tightness, but this board can't prove that you don't have a problem on your own.
But we can initially take this action, have David look at it, and
Try to help.
we can take those next steps to see what happens.
All right, because, I mean, I offered to sell them the property, I'm just tired of dealing with it. I mean, the place over there is trash now. They just got stuff piled up over there, and I've called their, code enforcement on them.
They're supposed to be putting a fence up.
But they, when it rains, with the blacktop that they put in there now, they covered up the dirt and grass area. But you can see like a film, oil film or gas film coming around, running down into our yard.
No, that property on the old picture, it rolled down, maybe a foot. Didn't they shave some of that dirt off?
No, it used to come down
Where'd
pretty.
that pile of dirt come that was in the back of
They
the
hauled
property?
they hauled it in.
Okay, because I thought maybe they shaved some of that dirt off, then they added
No,
the asphalt.
they pushed up about 2.5 feet over into our yard. Thought that was okay, and then when I started complaining to them about it, they got all hurt over it.
Have they pulled some of that back?
Yeah, they pulled some of it back and just piled it there.
Uh-huh.
But they had, I don't know how many loads of that, like chip and seal stuff
Uh-huh.
for the blacktop.
Yeah.
Now the water has nowhere to go but run off on other people's property.
And I seen they were putting a little pile of dirt, they probably need to add to that. Get it on both ends where, it's not running on your property immediately.
But what it's doing is, when it builds up here in the corner, it comes around the side of that dirt pile
Right,
down into the,
that's where you need the little side ditch to stop at. And Mark, if you get David timed down to a time sometime, I'll meet him right there on that spot. At his convenience,
I mean, like I said,
being all week.
we put that new roof and gutters and stuff on, we never had that problem. We got a sump pump in the basement, there's a tile that runs into it. But here lately, since they put that blacktop on there, whatever it's called, we have to run 2 sump pumps to keep the water out.
I think David could go a long way on solving the drainage. And, it's always been a drainage problem in this area, by trying to get that to go south.
We'll get you guys together, we can coordinate that and take a look.
And I'll talk to the owner there too.
All righty?
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir. Well, as always, we had a light-looking agenda that Gene Johnson would not be happy with, so.
And I want to tell you guys
Went
something.
over a lot of stuff.
Something we found on Big Black Creek, is it at 1,100?
No, 1,000.
1,000? The 1,000 bridge, it's just completely full of cornstalk. When it went down, I don't know why they all stayed there. I've never seen anything like it. You got a picture on your phone? Show Kenny or pass it around or take it up to Mark Williamson.
I know what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
This ain't nothing like over on the little South Rock. You won't believe
Well, yeah.
the
Whose
flood.
corn stalks are they?
Now, there's a big maintenance fund.
Whose are they?
Oh, they belong to everybody.
Well, they used to have 80 acres, had 24 or 20 acre fields, and now it runs for miles.
Uh-huh.
That goes clear into an old gravel pit, and there's just as much in the old gravel pit waiting to come down to here.
Yeah, that's, we're our own worst enemy.
I'm at Farville,
Yeah.
a mile from Farville.
So, Inyard just rushed out there and got the brush and just been cut. He rushed out there and got the brush out right before there was big rain.
Wow.
But now they're trying to think about getting a manure spreader and trying to chop it up, put it back wherever it came from.
Well,
Where'd it come from?
About all you,
I've never
Made it
seen
come
that
2 or 3
much.
miles. 2 or 3 miles.
Well, I am interested in Gene's motion.
Johnson makes a motion.
second,
We have the Johnson motion.
okay.
All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen and lady.
So, is it your guys' meeting tonight or not?
It's commissioner's
It's
meeting.
commissioner meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forget how Ron advertised it. but he's
Because
got
if
an
it
agenda
was,
for it.
if it was just the opponent's meeting, I wasn't gonna go.
No, as I understand it, he's gonna have
way to go, Mary.
so much time for those who are responsible solar, anti-solar, whatever, versus,
Okay.
so they're both gonna talk.